Hey everyone, we are live all together. It's Sunday afternoon, April 10th, and we are celebrating the one and only Allyson Apsey. She is joining our Teach Better conference lineup as a featured speaker. Guys, this is the image we've been slowly releasing the headshots of. Oh my gosh, for the last 3-4 months. I'm so excited to celebrate Allyson. If you are not familiar with her, you are about to make a new best friend. So stick with us. It is Sunday afternoon, so feel free to be cuddling up on the couch or enjoying the beautiful weather outside, no matter where you live. And we'll be right back. Hey everyone, I am so excited to be live with Allyson. Allyson, how are you on this Sunday afternoon?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's not snowing in Michigan. The sun is shining. I'm in my three seasons porch. I'm not freezing. Like it is the best day ever.
I'm so glad. I used to go live all the time on Sundays, and I have not been live on Sunday in ages. And I'm so excited that I get to do it with you, celebrating you, and now celebrating good weather. I feel like this is the perfect storm, friends. This is how you celebrate a Sunday.
Oh my gosh. And I was looking at all of those resources that the Teach Better team puts at everyone's educator's fingertips. Like, oh my gosh, what incredible collection. So
Oh,
proud. I'm like beaming with pride.
you're so sweet. You've been a part of the Teach Better community for so long. I am so thrilled that finally the secret is out that you're joining the Teach Better conference lineup again, because you were
Yay.
also a speaker in 2019, but you were a really hard speaker to keep secret. So I want to get into all the details. And if somebody's listening who may not be connected to you yet, I really want them to connect with you right off the bat. So Allyson, will you tell me like who you are, what you do, kind of all that jazz?
Yeah, I am in my 24th year as an educator and my 19th year as a principal. So I've spent a lot of my years in leadership, and it's an area I am super passionate about. And one of the things that I am most passionate about is taking care of the whole teacher in our schools to create environments that are need satisfying and inspiring and really help teachers connect with their why and stay connected with their why and support each other and feel valued. And yeah, I'm just excited to bring that to the Teach Better conference because there is no conference like this. Like there is something for everyone, whether you're a leader or I went with, I think I mentioned to you when I went to the conference in 2019. Was it 2019? Yeah, right? Yes.
2019, yeah,
Okay.
crazy.
Also, it seems like a long time ago. I went with one of my friends who is a child care director for our school district. And there's not many conferences that have the kind of energy and the expertise that Teach Better has that really hits the mark for someone who is in the field, but just like in a different way. And she found so many sessions that were wonderful for her and her learning. And that just makes me so excited to have educators from like every angle, whether different levels, teacher, leader, childcare, whatever the case is. It's an incredible conference.
I so appreciate you saying all that. Honestly, we have such this like emphasis on making sure that people understand that it's small because it is going to sell out. And we don't want people to like wait a long time because there are conferences that have thousands and thousands and thousands of people where you can buy a ticket last minute and still like have this grand old time. But I feel like sometimes we forget to emphasize just because it's small, it doesn't mean it's not diverse with content. So I love that shout out. I so appreciate Allyson. It was so funny because as we were trying to strategically choose our lineup, because we only were able to do this conference once in 2019, obviously back now 2022, which does feel like so long, like in between. your session in 2019 was discussed all the time. There were so many pictures. You had so many books that you were signing. I remember you being at that conference. You were such a staple, core, warm person to be there. We were like, we can't actually have another Teach Better conference without Allyson.
Yay! I love that. There is no place I'd rather be than Ohio in October. It'll be beautiful. Remember, I mean, it snowed last time.
It
And I
did.
love all the people from California were like running outside, like,
Yeah, that's another thing is that we say it's small, but we had like 20 plus states represented at that event. It was, it was like only 200 people, but there were so many people that like hadn't seen snow before, at least hadn't seen snow for a significant amount of time. And so they walked outside. I wish, I don't know that I still have the video, but I had a video of people walking outside being like, it's snowing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So Allyson, I know that it seems like ages ago, but do you remember what you spoke on in 2019?
I do. I think I spoke on helping others discover the best in themselves. And isn't it interesting that sometimes we forget that mental health and personal wellness was a huge topic pre-pandemic. It wasn't like things were going along smoothly and then for educators, and then the pandemic hit and things went awry. We were struggling before the pandemic. And I think like that message of helping others around us take care of themselves really hit home.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've always loved that your emphasis is really embracing the whole educator, because you did say you spent so much time in leadership. You can't just be barking out orders and making magic happen. It's really the people in the building that allow and like foster that type of environment. You have to take care of your people. It's so important, not only take care of ourselves, but take care of others. It's such an important topic.
I keep thinking about, and I have a blog post started about emphasizing self-care to educators is akin to putting a Band-Aid on a geyser. Self-care is important, but if we think that's the solution to what's going on in education, we are so misguided. There's so much systematic work and leadership work that needs to happen.
How come no one has said that to me? I interview people 5 times a week. No one has explained it that way. On Daily Drop-In, I know we're not on Daily Drop-In right now, but I have been on Daily Drop-In. How many shows have we done? I interview people Monday through Friday. That is a statement right there. Whew.
Yeah.
See, this is
and I think that education, that leadership perspective, it's because I've made all the mistakes. Like I've focused on getting buy-in, and now buy-in is like one of the phrases that I despise because we are not salespeople. Like what we need is collaboration and shared decision-making and giving educators voice in what's going to happen in their daily lives and listening to them. There's just so much more that needs to happen as far as communication and working together. And I'm excited to share that message because not only do leaders really want to take care of their people and help them do their best work, because when teachers are doing their best work, that's when students thrive. But colleagues really see their colleagues struggling and want to take care of them and really don't know how. And so giving them tools and strategies and guidance to support each other, I think is really important too.
I love this topic. And I think it's going to be so relevant to our Teach Better community, even in October. I mean, this is always a relevant topic, but that sounds like something that both teachers and administrators will be able to gain insight from and hopefully take back and immediately get to implement with their staff when they come to Teach Better conference this October.
I hope so. That's my plan.
So we also, of course, because I don't want to do any spoilers, but we do have a bookstore at the Teach Better conference, which, to be honest, a lot of the design of the 2022 bookstore at the conference this year was made off of a lot of recommendations you had, because you were an author at 2019, signing books, selling books, just doing all this schmoozing. And you had so many ideas that you shared. We've completely revamped that system. Can you tell us about your books that might be at the conference?
Oh my gosh, yes. Because there's one that will be out just in time for the conference. But so I am passionate about the idea of serendipity. And because I'm an author, I'm an artist, I get to kind of make up my own definition. But serendipity means happy accidents. But I really look at it as in looking for the beautiful lessons and happy accidents in everything we experience. And I'm talking like joys beyond our imagination to our deepest sorrows. Everything we go through, it offers us something if we look for it. And you can't always see it in the moment. I know, like, I'm sometimes taking a walk after school and I'm like really irritated or frustrated about something. And I'm like, there's a beautiful lesson in here, Allison. But I'm like rejecting that idea myself. Like, I can't see this beautiful lesson right now. But I always carry that hope inside me that eventually that beautiful lesson, like I'll be able to look for it, or it will reveal itself to me. So I have written many books that have serendipity in the title. My first book is called The Path to Serendipity. And that's really like an introspective journey, kind of autobiographical. Like there's even a chapter on my marriage, which was really nerve-wracking to write.
Yeah. You truly like expose yourself in that way. I know that there's so many different moments in the journey of writing a book, but when you put in personal tidbits, that is very vulnerable.
It is, you know that that's the case. And I also wrote a book called Through the Lens of Serendipity, Helping Others Discover the Best in Themselves. And it's a trauma-informed book. But it not only talks about how we can take care of our students in a trauma-informed kind of way, but how we can take care of each other in schools. And I think some of the books that are out there on trauma-informed practices are awesome. And they're mostly focused on students, but we also have staff going through traumatic experiences in their personal lives and at school. And so it really looks at how can we support each other also.
Yeah, very, very important lens to look through. I love that you're seeing these gaps and wanting to support educators and finding some of those areas to fill in some of that space. That's so important. What book is coming out that might be ready for the conference? This is news. I don't know this.
Oh, yeah. So I wrote a book that's called Leading the Whole Teacher. And that's been a work in progress since pre-pandemic, of just a passion of mine. But throughout the pandemic, I've done a ton of research. And I also, not research, like real research from researchers, but then also I just threw ideas out or wrote blog posts to try to elicit feedback from educators over the course of the past couple of years. And even when I go and speak, I gather information from educators, and using all of that, wrote this book that has 6 different tenets of the whole teacher and how we can support the whole teacher in our schools. Because even pre-pandemic, we had a teacher shortage crisis looming, and it's here now. And we need to be able to not only recruit new teachers into a robust professional work environment, but also help our current educators stay satisfied in their work and connected to their why. And so that book I think is going to be out maybe right before school starts. So it will be there at the bookstore, I hope.
Oh my gosh, how exciting. I would love to get my hands on another Allyson Apsey book. I feel like honestly, I have all of them and they're all in my collection. And I think it's so wonderful anytime you put out a new book for educators, because no matter which one I've read, because I know they're, slightly different audiences every time, all of them have allowed me to do such good reflection and take practices and put them into then my space and my work that I get to do and the audiences that I get to serve. So I'm so excited for you. Who's publishing the book?
DBC is publishing Leading the Whole Teacher. Yes, I love them. They're amazing.
The good DBC crew. Shout out to Dave and Shelley Burgess. Yeah. Good people over there. We love that. That's so exciting. So Allyson, I know that you are going to be in Ohio with us October 14th and 15th. We're so excited for you to be a featured speaker for the Teach Better Conference. A big push right now, though, is that it is currently April 10th, and proposals for people to submit their session ideas to the Teach Better Conference is open through the end of the month, which means they still have like 3 or 4 weeks to like really get their idea submitted. And on April 30th, I think it's a Saturday, everything's going to close down. We're going to take a few weeks for our committee to review all the sessions that are submitted and then put out the next wave of speakers, the lineup, the final schedule, kind of all that good stuff. So Allyson, what are your recommendations for an educator that may want to get into speaking or even just submit a session? Maybe they've done it before, but any tips or tricks?
Do it. Like you just you need to subscribe to Ray's emails also, because I love one of the emails that you just put out was about you're coaching Brittany Wolf, right?
Brittany Wolf is wonderful. We love her.
And you were coaching her on submitting a session, and now she's part of your team. She's published a book, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to publish a book or even be a speaker, but if that's an inclination you have, 100% go for it. I have found that being a consumer of other people's ideas can be wonderful, but it also can be overwhelming. But it's more doable if you're also sharing. So you're sharing your ideas, it's empowering to you, you're learning from others, you feel like, you're on a kind of a more level playing field, because we all have our own strengths to share, and we would all benefit from your idea. So this is whoever's listening, you're thinking of submitting a session, do it, submit it. I cannot wait to learn from you and see your journey just expand.
I would love to see people submit. There's so many different session length of time that you could submit. If you're in the mood to do like a full hour, go kill it. If you're like, ooh, an hour's too intimidating, you want to do more of like a TED Talk style, there's like 20-minute options. There's all these different ways to share your voice. And you could also have a co-presenter. Allyson, have you ever presented at an event with a co-presenter before? It can be really helpful to have somebody to jive off.
Absolutely. It can be so much fun. Yes, I have co-presented quite a few times. And I would, if anybody wants any help in submitting a session, I know you would be, willing and able to help and do so much, but I would be happy if anyone wanted to reach out to me too.
Oh, you'd be an awesome resource, Allyson. I hope they do choose to reach out to you. I know a lot of educators have already gone through the Teach Better Academy course that we released at the beginning of March. It was a completely free course, kind of gave you some tips and tricks to submit a proposal to any conference, but obviously it will to help for the Teach Better conference. But so much of that course emphasized get people's feedback, share your ideas and get people's thoughts on it, tweak, always adjust. And so even if you're thinking through a session you might share it with Allyson and get her thoughts on it, see what minor tweaks you might have, maybe adjustment to a title or the description is going to help you just continue to elevate your session. I think it's so important that we all work to share a voice. And you're obviously a huge advocate for not only wanting to share your ideas, anything you've learned, but also learn from others. And I think that the more we can get educators to raise their voice, the better.
100% agree. Yes. And one of the things that I always mention about the Teach Better conference that was one of my favorites is the networking that happens at night. And I loved that it was just like anybody can come, and almost everybody did. It was incredible just to be able to walk around and get some food or have a drink or whatever and just connect with passionate educators. And then those connections we did carpool karaoke with a group of educators as we went to one of the events, but those connections, they last and they're so meaningful, even if they're across the country.
Yeah, do you mind speaking to that a little? I know you and I have been to a ton of different conferences. I have loved and had major takeaways from almost every conference I've been to. This in no way is a negative to how other events choose to run their networking events or their conference setup. Truly, there is such a beauty in the variety that we can get as educators at different events. But what were your thoughts with Teach Better? Truly, there's one networking, everyone's invited. You're not trying to figure out your plans for the night because you have an invitation for plans. What's been your experience with that?
That is huge, because even going with a group of educators to a national conference or a state level conference, you're like, I wonder what everybody's doing. Oh, I don't know what this group is doing. And I really wanted to connect with one of those educators, and everybody can't think of everyone. Mm-hmm. So having a platform where everyone is going to be invited and you have the opportunity to connect with whoever you want to connect with is really unique for Teach Better.
Well, I really appreciate that. It's always so fun. We had a great time. We had no idea that people would take advantage of the networking as much as they did in 2019. I mean, all 3 days of networking were packed. And I was thrilled that now our conference committee for 2022 has made that a huge emphasis to say, hey, the networking is something that everyone's been talking about. So we need to put a ton of time and effort into making sure that that's a valuable experience. So I'm so glad that you enjoyed that. That's important.
That's fantastic. And in 19, I was traveling on the first night of networking, and I had huge FOMO. So I know that I'm going to get there in time this coming year.
We're so excited to have you. It'll be so good. Allyson, I do want to make sure that everybody gets to connect with you, because from now through October, if they haven't connected with you, they need to go read a lot of your books, consume all the content you're sharing, obviously learn throughout their time. Then they get to meet you in person in October. So will you share a little bit how people can stay connected?
Yes, I'm sorry for my dog barking back here, but you can. I'm at Allyson Apsey on all the social medias, so you can. I mean, on TikTok, I'm at Allyson Apsey 19, and I do really cheesy, corny stuff that my family makes fun of me for on TikTok, but it's not going to stop me. And you can also, my website is allysonapsey.com, or email me at allysonapsey@gmail.com. Just trying to keep it simple.
I love it. Simple's good. That allows everyone to get a hold of you in any way that they're most comfortable. So that's awesome. So good. Well, Allyson, I know that I personally cannot wait to see you in person in October. I love being a fan of yours. I follow you. I get to consume all the content you share. I want to encourage our entire Teach Better Network to do that as well. And then, friends, don't forget, session submissions are open. Proposals are open for the rest of the month. So find a friend and choose to both submit a session. You also get free registration if you get selected. So that's a perk.
Ooh, that's a huge perk.
But it's really important, right? Like, if you're going to share your voice, like, you get a free ticket, guys. Like, I don't mean, that's not why you should do it, but it's like kind of awesome.
That is awesome.
Be good. Also, if you are not looking to speak, grab a friend, go register. I know Stacy earlier in the comments was sharing with us that she registered today, and she's so excited. So we're so excited, Stacy. And then we will all be together. If you're looking for other ways to get involved, please go visit teachbetterconference.com. We still have openings for, obviously, registration is still open. Proposals are still open. Podcasters Row is still open if you want to podcast live at the conference. Our bookstore applications are open. Our sponsorships are still open. There's a lot going on there, but we just cannot wait to get all of you together and networking. So, Allyson, thank you so much for joining me live on a Sunday afternoon. It was so good to see you.
What a way to round out the weekend and spring break. And it is always a pleasure to connect with you, Ray.
So appreciate it. Friends, go connect with Allyson, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for Daily Drop-In. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.